On va continuer sur les mêmes thèmes. D'abord, la formation. Vos présentations, soyez focus sur les aspects formation. Quelle formation pertinente? Soyez focus aussi sur les infrastructures. Et ensuite, troisième idée, soyez focus sur comment valoriser l'expertise qui est formée en Afrique. Donc, vous aurez chacun 5 minutes. Je vous donne la parole. D'abord, CICOS, s'il vous plaît.
Ah oui. Merci. Je suis Raphaël Chimanga, professeur à l'Université de Kinshasa, Centre de recherche en ressources en eau du bassin du Congo. Je représente le consortium CICOS, la Commission internationale du bassin du Congo ou Bangui-Sanga, qui se focalise sur la région géographique de l'Afrique centrale et du bassin du Congo. Alors, quelle formation pertinente? C'est que, pour répondre à cette question, nous sommes d'abord partis dans l'évaluation des besoins de renforcement de capacité, ce qu'on appelle en anglais « Training Need Assessment ». Et là, nous avons identifié les besoins de formation, renforcement de capacité en altimétrie spatiale pour pouvoir nous aider à pouvoir établir les bilans hydrologiques afin de pouvoir appuyer les services des ressources en eau. Nous sommes dans une région, un grand bassin fluvial, le deuxième au monde après celui de l'Amazone. Alors, c'est vraiment un bassin non jaugé. Nous avions autrefois environ près de 400 stations d'observation au sol, les stations hydrométriques par exemple. Mais maintenant, il n'y en a que 20 qui sont vraiment opérationnelles. Avec ce petit nombre, il est très difficile de pouvoir appuyer ou bien faire des stratégies pour pouvoir valoriser les services de ressources en eau. C'est ainsi que l'altimétrie spatiale nous donne des informations crédibles que nous pouvons bien utiliser les courbes d'étarage et transformer en débit pour pouvoir établir les bilans et appuyer les services de ressources en eau. C'est là que nous avions identifié le premier besoin de formation. Le deuxième besoin de formation a été identifié en termes de risque de catastrophes d'inondation. Nous sommes dans une région où, à chaque 50 km, nous avons de grandes rivières. Et si nous prenons les grandes villes qui sont au niveau de la région du bassin du Congo, nous trouvons qu'elles sont situées le long de grands cours d'eau, le long des rivières. Nous prenons par exemple la ville de Kinshasa, la ville de Brazzaville, la ville de Bangui, la ville de Kisangani. Ce sont des villes qui sont le long des grands cours d'eau, donc ce sont des villes qui sont exposées aux effets des inondations fluviales. Alors nous avons identifié un autre besoin de formation dans ce domaine-là. Et puis l'autre besoin, c'était en rapport avec l'utilisation des données in situ pour pouvoir valider les bases de données que nous avons d'observation d'émissions satellitaires. Alors c'est là les 3 grands volets de besoins de formation que nous avions identifiés. Ainsi, ça nous a aidé à pouvoir circonscrire nos activités de formation. Alors, nous avons le premier volet des activités, nous avons identifié la formation des formateurs. Le deuxième volet, c'était les cas d'études. Troisième volet, c'était en rapport avec le développement des curricula. Je vois le docteur Dinga venait de soulever ce cas-là, le développement des curricula. Le quatrième volet, c'était en rapport avec la formation diplômante. Et là, nous sommes en train de voir la production des connaissances. Et le cinquième volet de nos activités était en rapport avec la dissémination et la gestion des connaissances. Pour ce qui est du premier volet formation des formateurs, nous avons organisé des formations au niveau régional où nous avons impliqué les secteurs, les institutions du secteur public, privé, les secteurs de recherche, incluant plusieurs pays au niveau régional et au niveau aussi institutionnel. Alors là, nous avons par exemple organisé une formation à Bangui, en République centrafricaine, où nous avons initié les apprenants à l'identification des plateformes d'utilisation des données d'altimétrie spatiale, comment est-ce qu'on pouvait acquérir ces données-là, comment est-ce qu'on pouvait transformer, utiliser les logiciels. Par exemple, nous avons les logiciels MAP. Alors, comment on pouvait utiliser les logiciels existants pour pouvoir transformer les hauteurs d'eau en débit et faire les prévisions. Alors, c'est le cas, par exemple, qui a été montré par l'étudiant de CICOS qui était passé le premier jour, qui a fait son témoignage. Alors, la deuxième formation de formateurs que nous avions organisée était en rapport avec la cartographie des risques des inondations, la prévision. Alors là, nous avons aussi des données d'observation spatiale qui nous donnent des informations pour des périodes de retour de 5 ans, 10 ans, 20 ans, 50 ans, 100 ans, qui sont importants pour pouvoir faire la planification, bien la conception des ouvrages et faire la prévention des risques des inondations. Alors, nous avons aussi tenu cette formation-là au niveau régional. C'était une formation intéressante, bien que notre consortium s'occupe seulement de la région de l'Afrique centrale, mais nous avons aussi reçu d'autres pays tels que des ressortissants d'autres pays tels que l'Algérie qui ont participé à cette formation, des ressortissants des pays tels que Niger qui ont aussi participé à cette formation. Alors, le deuxième volet de nos activités, c'était les cas d'études. Alors, les cas d'études étaient directement liés à la formation des formateurs. Pour chaque participant qui s'enregistrait à nos formations, il y avait l'exigence que les participants puissent développer un cas d'étude en groupe qui va devoir produire comme un rapport de formation. Ainsi, nous avons établi les groupes thématiques au niveau régional. Là, par exemple, je prends le cas de la formation sur la prévention des catastrophes des inondations et la cartographie des vulnérabilités des populations aux inondations. Là, nous avons établi 4 groupes d'études au niveau régional. Nous avons un groupe d'études au niveau du Cameroun avec plusieurs pays, bien entendu. C'est le Cameroun qui est le leader. Nous avons un groupe d'études sur Bangui avec la République centrafricaine et nous avons 2 groupes d'études au niveau de la RDC, par exemple au niveau du lac Tanganyika où il y a eu beaucoup d'inondations. Et les gens ont travaillé, les apprenants ont travaillé sur les cas d'études. Ils ont d'abord suivi la formation et puis ils ont travaillé sur les cas d'études et ils ont produit des rapports qui sont publiables sous forme soit des articles scientifiques, mais aussi qui peuvent aussi être publiés comme notes aux décideurs. Alors, nous avons souvent, c'est très difficile de pouvoir introduire la nouvelle matière dans nos cursus universitaires, mais nous pouvons aussi le faire au niveau de travaux pratiques. Là, nous sommes en train de travailler avec les assistants qui sont au niveau des universités, voir comment est-ce qu'ils peuvent utiliser certaines thématiques, certains cours que nous avons déjà développés, comment est-ce qu'ils peuvent administrer ça comme travaux pratiques dans différents cours qui sont en train d'être administrés au niveau des universités. Et puis, l'autre activité, c'est formation diplômante. Là, nous avons les cas de master de recherche que nous avons appuyés et ces cas nous permettent de pouvoir aboutir à la production de nouvelles connaissances et des publications comme l'a témoigné l'étudiant qui était passé ici le premier jour. Et enfin, le dernier volet de nos activités, nous avions la dissémination. Et dissémination, c'est dissémination, gestion des connaissances. C'est là que nous développons, nous avons beaucoup de données qui peuvent être utilisées dans la recherche, mais comment est-ce que nous pouvons nous organiser pour que nous puissions disséminer ces informations, ces données-là, pour qu'elles soient utilisées par les chercheurs, mais aussi les professionnels. C'est là que nous sommes en train de mettre en place un outil de dissémination, une plateforme interactive où les chercheurs, les étudiants, les professeurs, même les professionnels peuvent entrer dans cette plateforme pour pouvoir recevoir les informations et les utiliser dans leurs travaux. Alors, comme perspective, c'est que nous sommes dans la perspective d'abord d'évaluation. Comment allons-nous savoir que nos formations que nous sommes en train d'administrer sont vraiment efficaces? L'impact de nos formations. Là, nous sommes en train de développer un outil qu'on appelle MEL. C'est Monitoring, Evaluation and Learning. C'est qu'après 6 mois, nous avons un questionnaire que nous pouvons administrer aux apprenants pour avoir un peu leur feedback sur ce qu'ils ont eu comme formation, l'importance de cette formation, comment cette formation contribue à dans leurs travaux, dans leurs activités ou bien dans ce qu'ils sont en train de faire comme profession. Après 1 année, c'est ainsi que nous pouvons avoir l'impact de nos activités de formation. Mais aussi, nous comptons aussi redynamiser les groupes thématiques qui sont issus des cas d'études qui ont été développés. Nous avons trouvé que c'est une bonne approche. Ça forme une sorte de communauté de pratiques, comme on appelle en anglais, community of practices. Alors, ce sont des groupes au niveau régional qui sont en train d'interagir, plusieurs pays. Alors, nous voulons aussi redynamiser cet aspect des choses, voir comment est-ce que dans les prochaines formations, nous pouvons continuer avec les cas d'études au niveau régional. Alors, je suis presque à la fin. Je suis en train de dire que nous devons aussi sensibiliser les chercheurs à l'utilisation des données d'observation spatiale. C'est parmi nos perspectives. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup. Merci en tout cas. Je n'ai pas pu l'interrompre tellement les activités qu'il nous présente sont riches, mais je retiendrai le message de la jonction, la volonté de faire la jonction avec le milieu académique. Je pense que ça, c'est extrêmement important si nous voulons en tout cas avoir un contexte de pérennisation des acquis, de durabilité. Il va falloir faire la jonction avec les universités pour qu'elles prennent le relais pour continuer à assurer la formation et surtout la masse critique. Merci beaucoup. Alors, intervenant suivant, c'est... alors, je me suis... Alors, c'est CSSTE, je crois. S'il vous plaît.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Please, the technical crew, can you please put off the CSSTE presentation? Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kunle Oladosho, representing the CSSTE consortium, which, as we all know, is made up of 5 countries. Please, can I have so that I can control the pointer here?
Vous donnez le pointeur, s'il vous plaît. The pointer. Le pointeur. C'est là. Oh.
Thank you. CSSTE, as you all know, is made up of 7 partners from 5 countries. And during the course of this program, I serve as the training coordinator. So all I would say this afternoon is to share our experiences and give some recommendations based on the experiences during the period. We set out to actually do training, which is one of the pillars and one of our products and services. And the idea is, the objective that we set out to do was that we actually needed to get the stakeholders involved for sustainability of this project after the end of the first phase. And basically what we did was to engage them so that they can take ownership of this program. So the first thing we did is to have a need assessment of these stakeholders across 5 countries. And based on that, we're able to now identify the training needs that is actually synonymous to the project we're about to do. Then secondly, we had integrated online system. We'll not go to details of that because of the time. Then we have the online mode of training. All in all, the milestone during this period was we were able to actually train 6 master students. All of them have graduated. And we have short trainings. As I said, this training needs 8 in total, which is actually the training needs expressed by the GMOs, which we believe will take ownership of this project at the end. And on and on, we're able to train over 600 participants across the countries. Then another thing was we're able to develop an e-learning platform, which will still be in use and is a robust platform. I have the links shared there, which is available for anyone to even use for training. Then we established something that is key in this project, is that we have all these organizations working in silos. But during this period, I can tell you today, one of the success stories is that we've been able to bring out all these organizations together, that today we now have a common front in tackling the project at hand. These are the list of short trainings that we embarked on, which is actually, and if you look at those lists, it's actually based on flood monitoring across the West African sub-region. What are the challenges we encountered during this? The first thing was that we had COVID-19 came. All the trainings were slated to be on-site, and that afforded us the opportunity to actually develop an online platform, which is currently used today. Then another challenge that actually came up during this period is internet. Even if you develop a very good system and you are having online trainings, and which is on real-time basis, we found out that internet is still a challenge. So what do? Even if someone misses out during the training, there are processes for record playback so that you can get it. And all the resource persons even get their feedback through emails during the training so that no one misses out. So those are the challenges we have and the way we tackle them in moving forward. Now, I have some list of recommendations which I will actually give in going forward. And what are these lists? The first one is we need to actually have a continuous training of these DMOs, because all these recommendations we have is actually from the feedback we got from them. Continuous training on the existing trainings we've had, and even developing new ones, especially in the area of cloud computing. Then there's a need to have joint training programs across the consortium, so that we can actually look at the strength of all these consortiums, so that we need to actually maximize our strength so that we can deliver more on this. Then we need to have continuous support. We all have the testimonies of all the students here on Monday, and there's a need, especially for the beneficiaries of the scholarship, we need to actually just don't leave them like that. We need to continue to support them. And going forward in phase 2, we actually need to even do more for sustainability. Then we want to suggest or recommend that for all the beneficiaries of GMES African projects, a copy of their thesis should be submitted and kept in AUC for record purposes for the future. The next 4 recommendations, if you see, it's not enough to be having short trainings. We need, I don't know how the experiences is in East Africa, in the North Africa, but for West Africa, where I come from, there's a need for us, I'm challenging the academics around us, there's a need for us to actually review our curriculum in order to cope with the current challenges that is actually facing us. Then the stakeholders need to provide feedback. It's not enough to train people. We need to get feedback from them. And when we train one, we cannot train, once we train someone or 2 persons in an organization, there should be trainers for others so that these things can go and the knowledge can be shared in the nearest future. Then finally, we have regional centers and centers of excellence. I would suggest that in order to have a very good, robust system in our training. The United Nations regional centers, we have one in Morocco for the French-speaking, one in Nigeria, and other centers of excellence can be used as hub for training, especially for the long-term trainings. Those are my 8 recommendations, and thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Je pense que les dernières recommandations qu'il a présentées, en particulier en matière de formation, seront partagées avec le secteur académique qui va se réunir cet après-midi pour en tout cas discuter de la mise en place d'un réseau, et vos recommandations certainement pourront enrichir en tout cas leur réflexion, et certainement ils vont en tenir compte. En tout cas, merci beaucoup. Nous allons passer au présentateur suivant, au panéliste suivant. Ce sera donc RCMRD. Please, you have the floor. 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. Most of the RCMRD capacity building issues were presented by Professor GIDUDU during the opening of this session as a keynote speaker. So I'll highlight some areas which were not fully touched during that presentation. I don't like to go to the detail because they were already presented. As you know, one of the pillars of GMES and Africa is capacity building and training, especially training. So for that, we started through needs assessment. What to be trained, whom to be trained, how to train. Those issues were thoroughly discussed with our stakeholders and end users. So for that, Makerere University became one of our partners to work in collaboration. So with that one, we identified technical staff from our side also to participate on training, especially regarding the services. For general training also, we worked with Makerere University, and the participants in all cases were in different level. Technical staff from different institutions, and academicians, and end users, including decision makers. So based on that one, the training, including the materials, was classified. And again, you see with private sectors also, we developed another training, especially training on the tools. Tools developed like wetlands vulnerability analysis tool, land productivity analysis tool, socioeconomic valuation analysis tool, as well as wind erosion modeling tool. That training was done by the developers of these tools in such a way that all the users can benefit. The training, some trainings were physical, that's classroom trainings, and most of the trainings after COVID were online. COVID didn't affect our training program, even it became an opportunity to train more. Easily, we had opportunity of training hundreds and thousands using online. So for training, COVID was not measured, but the problem was infrastructure in some parts of our continent. Again, during the time, especially COVID time, we were not limited to the region. I mean to the Eastern Africa. Many participated in Western Africa, Northern Africa, Southern Africa, online. Even across Atlantic, we had some trainees. So that's why I'm saying it was also better opportunity. We had also some on-the-job training that is supporting some interns and attaches at the RCMRD using the facility given by GMES and Africa. So in general, many have benefited from our trainings. And also students, we have supported more than 8 students in one and other, especially for their research. And we have also facilitated for access of the training materials using our geoportal. All the RCMRD training, online training platform. Anyone can access and have the training materials. Even today, whenever someone is interested, can download through communicating to our technical team. That was one of the opportunities of this training. You remember a few years ago, even for short-term training, most of us were forced to look across the Atlantic or across the Mediterranean. Now we have this opportunity even for local training. When it comes to decision makers, the training, as you know, was not in a very technical way. It is on how to utilize Earth observation data as well as results of our data processing and producing for planning and decision making, especially those who were working around the wetlands and degraded areas used for policy development and also future planning and also for mitigation practices. So we used interest of all the trainees and supported accordingly. So when we come to the recommendations, identifying the needs of the trainees is very helpful. So we have to identify what do they need, in what level, whom to train them. Collaborating with stakeholders, especially for the training, is very important, like private sectors and academia or research centers. Again, is there a possibility, especially the challenge which we have seen is for online training, it is the bandwidth, especially internet challenge. Isn't it possible to support our trainees, giving some incentive to use data for internet? Most of them do not have good internet, so if we provide them with some incentives, I think it could be very easy everyone to have training online. So the online one which we would like to encourage is that it's very economic and many can access it. So again, demand. For example, demand is increasing from time to time. Most of the trainees requested for the second round, especially on some tools, and we supported them accordingly. So the demand is increasing. In the upcoming phase, we are planning to make it especially to reach the end users. Thank you very much.
The floor is to SASSCAL, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Moderator. My name is Thomas Marambanyika. I'm going to present on behalf of SASSCAL Consortium. We are working on the project, the WIMAS project. So we also have capacity building and training activities, which we have been doing. And if you look at the training strategy for the consortium, it is meant to ensure that there is long-term sustainability and empowerment of target groups and decision makers. So in this case, the identified target groups during stakeholder maybe mapping are the ones who are mainly targeted in our training activities. So basically the training needs are based on the target groups as well as the objectives of this particular project. So in terms of our trainings, they are mainly categorized into two groups. We have got general training as well as training on the service. So on general training, we managed to do a number of trainings, some of which include one on the development of new technologies for earth observation, then the other one also on earth observation for wetland monitoring, assessment and management. Then on service, we also did a training on the geoportal usage so that our users can actually familiarize with the functionalities of that particular platform. So you find that these trainings have been attracting quite a number of people since they were virtual, and we also encouraged interactive discussions at the end of each training so that we were sort of assured that the necessary skills and information which was supposed to be captured by the trainees was actually achieved. So you find that because of also the issue that these trainings were being done virtually, in terms of the footprint, the number of people who were involved, you find that it even went beyond the region. We had local, regional, and international participants, some even from outside Africa, like Asian countries and European countries. So that also went on to demonstrate that our trainings online were actually appealing and useful to quite a number of people. So in terms of the trainees, you find that there were different categories which were involved, like students, scientists, water authorities, wetland managers, policymakers, and importantly, the private sector. And also you find that the private sector in our case was also involved in the design of the geoportal. So they were also much involved in the training to do with the functionalities of that particular geoportal, of course in partnership with other technical partners in the consortium. Then some of the trainings which we have been doing were in the form of conferences or symposium. At WaterNet 2020 symposium, we find that there was a special session which was dedicated to the WMAS project, whereby we had to showcase the products and services so that at the end of the day, even the participants from that symposium were able to at least appreciate and understand maybe how they can use our products and services. Then also we had some postgraduate seminars which were being done periodically in the different universities which are part of the technical partners. So in those seminars, there was interaction between our students and other students in as far as EO data utilization in wetlands monitoring and assessment is concerned. Then the other issues to do with also sustainability, like I mentioned at the beginning. That's another key component of our training strategy, so that we ensure that there is participation of youth. And how did we achieve that? We recruited a number of postgraduate students. So in postgraduate training, we had about 16 students, of which 8 were master's students and 8 again were PhD students. So you'd find that in terms of funding, because people may say, where were you getting the resources? Or 8 were fully funded and the other 8 were partially funded, because also tried to look at some related trainings which are going on so that we can further reinforce our trainings in the WMAS project. Then also important is that in the trainings which were being done on students, you would find that about 44% of the trainees were females, and also we managed to come up with about 13 publications which are in reputable journals, so that at the end of the day, we are also even able to reach out to those who may read the publications, because these were based on the products and services that were developed by WMAS. Then the other issue maybe which I can mention is that we are also influencing the curriculum in the universities, which are technical partners, so that at the end of the day, even if they don't have a program which is full on GIS and remote sensing, you may find that we may influence inclusion of courses within those programs, so that at the end of the day, we have got more people or students who are skilled or equipped with the requisite information which may be required. So in terms of the way forward or recommendations, I think one aspect which I may emphasize on is the need to ensure or enhance gender disaggregated trainings, Because one thing which you sort of picked is that on the virtual trainings, female participation was almost between 20 and 30%. So going forward, they are saying these are also critical stakeholders who may also need to be reached out. So we are going to have deliberate strategies to ensure that we have training of more women going forward. Then the other issue also maybe is to identify some focal institutions in different countries which will have some trainings and further ensure that maybe training is actually done in a widespread manner in the different target countries. So basically, I'm not going to also repeat other issues which have been said by other previous presenters, but in a nutshell, that's what we have been doing as SASSCAL Consortium. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. On a noté en tout cas les cibles variées d'acteurs qui sont formés, les étudiants, les scientifiques, les gestionnaires de ressources en eau, les gestionnaires de zones humides, voilà, les décideurs politiques. Et aussi, on a noté, en tout cas, les niveaux de formation aussi qui sont très variés, allant de undergraduate, les étudiants débutants, jusqu'aux doctorants. En tout cas, félicitations. Et nous allons donner la parole maintenant à l'orateur suivant, University of Ghana. Please, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. A lot has been said, and I'm not going to repeat all of that. At the University of Ghana, working with Kurat, we have supported a lot of training in terms of helping nationals, regional bodies at the continental level to develop training along the services that we develop. Over the period, we realized that there is enough training materials on Earth observation, remote sensing, and all of that. But one of the things that we think is missing with respect to service development is the fact that issues such as illegal fishing, using radar images to detect dark targets, analyzing AIS data to help you curb issues within the maritime space needed to be looked at. So it's one of the things that we are building a lot of materials around, because if you do quick searches over the internet, looking for materials on these packages or these, you don't find them. So it's one of the things that we are working on that. So within this week and next week, for instance, we were collaborating with IOC UNESCO to do training along those lines, but I'm here, so we had to postpone that. It is important we look at those issues, especially those of us with oceans within our spaces. It's imperative that we do targeted capacity building that are focused on issues, the issues that affect food on the table, the issues that put money in our pockets. Those are the things that we need to do that. Again, in doing that, we also would get the private sector to slowly understand how these issues are relevant and they can jump onto that. So I guess moving forward, we have to find definite problems that affect humanity, and those are the things that we have to be thinking about. One thing we also have so much interest and we working a lot on, and my colleague just spoke about it, empowering women in science and to utilize Earth observation or understand the importance of Earth observation and the ability to use Earth observation data. So at the University of Ghana, together with our consortium, we have started having clinics for women, especially teachers in high school. So they go out there, we go out there, we encourage them, we tell them all the story about Earth observation and its relevance. We tell them why it's important that as teachers, they find ways to bring these examples and the things they teach students at school, that please, if you want to have a cleaner environment, we need to know where all the marine litter goes to, where they come from, and satellites can do that. So we find ways to encourage them and resource them with tools. So that's one example that we are using to ensure that women and younger people get to understand the relevance of Earth observation. Another thing that we are doing together with the private sector is building capacity of whoever is interested. You don't have to be in a university. You don't have to be in a private sector. You don't have to be with a government institution. But we are going to develop resources that we will put online that anyone can look into. And that is how we use Internet of Things, low-cost sensors to measure environment, how you can program these small kits, so you would get to understand programming, you get to understand data collection, you get to understand how you can fuse in-situ measurements with satellite observations, so you are able to solve problems. So these are some of the few innovations that we are bringing into how we engage with institutions, with our stakeholders now and as we move forward. There are a lot of things that we can always talk about, but I don't think we have enough time, so I will leave it here for now. But I will conclude with one thing, and it was so catchy. Dr. Antony said something about, I think, from the pixel to the village. For us at the University of Ghana, we are going to have this mantra now. It's going to be from the pixel to the high school, because we're going to go all out and say, hey, let's educate the young ones so that they can come and replace us maybe in the next 20, 30 years. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for that conclusion. Alors, on m'a signalé que le repas est prêt, donc nous n'allons pas prendre de questions, mais je vais juste, dans vraiment toute la richesse de ces présentations, je vais retenir 5 points. Je pense que ce sont les points saillants. Le premier point, c'est le besoin de faire la cartographie des besoins des utilisateurs finaux. Ceux qui utilisent finalement ces applications, ces produits, ces services, il faut que nous arrivions à définir, à cartographier de la manière la plus précise possible leurs besoins. De quoi est-ce qu'ils ont besoin en matière de capacitation afin qu'ils puissent profiter au maximum des applications, des produits et des services. Ça, je crois que c'est un point extrêmement important. Le deuxième point, c'est la nécessaire stratégie de faire la jonction avec le milieu académique. Depuis hier, nous sommes en train d'écouter des consortiums qui ont bien travaillé, qui se sont mis ensemble, qui ont certes impliqué le milieu académique, qui ont certes impliqué le secteur privé, mais je pense que dans la deuxième phase, ou du moins ce qui ressort de ces présentations d'aujourd'hui, c'est que dans la deuxième phase, il faut qu'on aille beaucoup plus vers la jonction avec le milieu académique. Parce que ça, c'est stratégique, parce que c'est ça qui va nous permettre, quand GMES en Africa, le programme, sa deuxième phase sera épuisée, s'il n'y a pas de troisième phase, c'est ça qui va nous permettre d'assurer la durabilité et de capitaliser sur, en tout cas, ce qu'on aura appris de GMES en Africa et des programmes qui l'ont précédé. Ça, c'est le deuxième point. Le troisième point, va aussi toucher le secteur académique. Parce que toutes ces applications, tout ce savoir-faire qui a été enregistré dans la deuxième phase doit être capitalisé pour développer des formations, pas seulement des formations en ligne, en présentiel, mais aussi et surtout des formations en ligne. Capitalisons sur le savoir-faire pour développer des formations en ligne. Et je pense à un certain type de formation de courte durée, formation massive, qui permet à beaucoup de monde de participer, c'est les MOOC. On peut capitaliser sur ces résultats-là, sur ce savoir-faire, pour faire la jonction avec le milieu académique et avec ce milieu académique, monter des formations en ligne et des formations de type MOOC, Massive Online Training. Quatrième point qui me semble important, c'est que de plus en plus, nous allons avoir des données massives. De plus en plus, des applications vont émerger qui vont avoir besoin d'utiliser des données massives. Or, traiter les données massives, ça va être très compliqué si on n'a pas la capacité, notamment de cloud computing. Il ne faut pas qu'on oublie que les étudiants que nous formons, les techniciens que nous formons, du plus petit jusqu'au plus haut niveau, ces étudiants-là, on doit aussi les former en cloud computing. Ça, c'est extrêmement important parce que demain, le cloud computing sera incontournable parce que les données seront des données de plus en plus massives. Les applications seront des applications qui auront besoin d'une historique de données extrêmement importante. Et enfin, le dernier point que j'ai retenu, qui me semble extrêmement important, quelqu'un l'a dit, qu'il faut partager les thèses, les mémoires, tous ces documents qui sont générés par nos valeureux étudiants, nos talentueux étudiants qui ont travaillé avec les académiques, avec les consortiums. Je crois qu'il faut rassembler ces documents-là et les remettre à la Commission de l'Union africaine comme trophée de guerre, entre guillemets. Comme ça, la Commission de l'Union africaine pourra toujours les exhiber comme en tout cas des documents scientifiques qui ont été produits grâce au programme mis en place par la Commission de l'Union africaine. Je pense que les modalités peuvent être examinées avec la Commission de l'Union africaine, avec les consortiums. La question pourra être examinée donc pour voir quelle est la meilleure modalité, quelles sont les meilleures modalités pour en tout cas mettre à disposition de la Commission de l'Union africaine toute cette archive scientifique développée dans le cadre donc des programmes menés par les consortiums. Voilà, encore une fois, je vous prie d'applaudir nos présentateurs, nos panélistes, et je vous remercie et vous souhaite donc bon appétit. Merci beaucoup. Merci les gars.
Et je vous demande d'applaudir le professeur, s'il vous plaît. On l'applaudit.